I am an introvert. I am arrogant and devious. I hate people. I'm boring to death. And if you ask me what fun is, I would just stare and blink from time to time because those three letters don't make any sense to me. I'm always depressed. I hardly ever smile. And I would rather pick up a sword and fight a dragon on the greatest wall of China than walk into a crowded room. Well, I hope that you were able to pick the irony in everything I said, because if you didn't, let me tell you straightforward that these are the attributes that we introverts are associated with. And it kind of sucks, because we're cool, different, and cool. I recently came across Susan Cain's book, Quiet: The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. And as I was reading each word, turning each page and levitating through the chapters, I knew that I had to write about introversion. I had to write about who I am and who every misunderstood introvert out there is. Because, frankly speaking, the world often fails to recognize that introverts account as a third to a half of the world's population, which makes us actually more present than what we might think, and not some outcasts, weirdos, or a different species that should adapt to modern society. So, the awaited question: what is introversion? What does being an introvert mean? Contrary to popular beliefs, it's neither shyness nor depression and loneliness. Introversion is the state in which a person thrives by turning into her inner self, rather than opening up to the outer world in order to meet its psychological needs. It's more of a minimalistic approach to relationships, where quantity harms and the search for quality occurs. Now, I'm not saying by any means that extroverted people do not look for meaningful connections, but they hardly ever feel exhausted and drained after a gathering. They hardly ever feel the need to come up with a valid excuse to turn down an invitation, because simply saying, "No, thank you, I really feel like chilling at home tonight," isn't socially acceptable or friendly. And most importantly, they hardly ever feel the pressure to explain themselves whenever they meet someone new. Now that I'm thinking about it, being an introvert in an extroverted world is very wearing. We live in a society that applauds loudness and assertiveness and labels it as strength, while considering being quiet, being reflective, being a good listener, being socially cautious and selective as a weakness, while ironically the ancient civilizations admired the serene and rewarded their attributes and abilities. My fellow introverts, we were not blessed with the right timing. Does anyone here have a time machine? No? No one? Okay. Also, another misconception is that introverts are socially awkward or unfriendly. In fact, we're quite the opposite. We usually can't stand small talk because we're so used to navigating our thoughts that we expect each conversation to be as deep and reflective. And generally, neither an introvert nor an extrovert can engage in deep conversations from the very first encounter, unless something sparkles or two introverts meet. And let's talk about the infamous saying, you introverts should get out of your comfort zone. You should do exciting things. Live your life because you'll end up regretting it one day. And to my introverts, again, this is a narrative that squeezes into the lifestyle of an extroverted person, not ours. Because both personality traits are affected by external stimuli differently. And while extroverts crave adrenaline because it makes them feel alive, we crave quietness because it makes us feel alive. And to us, extroverted people should get out of their comfort zone more often too, by embracing quietness and stillness, by harmonizing their thoughts and being alone without feeling either bored or lonely. And scrolling on a phone or binge watching Netflix doesn't count. It might be hard, we know from experience, but that's the whole purpose of the experiment. And I want to point out that no human being is 100% introverted or extroverted. It actually comes in a spectrum where you can still be a little bit of the former and more of the latter. It's a formula, a mix of both. Each person has her own attributes, and in differences, beauty is born. The beauty of friendships, relationships, and human interactions in general. This is why I really invite all my introverted people to show their colors and hatch their shells. And to all my extroverted people, please take the time to watch the introverts blooming. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of the Glow Up Journey of a Self-Taught Artist, and I really hope it shedded some light into the understanding of the complexity of introverts and how beautiful, unique, and amazing they are. If you are an introvert, let me know in the comments if you have ever been called out for it or misunderstood. And to my extroverted people, have you ever met someone and you were like at first, this person is different, it's an introvert, and then you knew them more and came to realize that they are a whole different person with a whole different personality? If it's the case, don't hesitate to share your story in the comments. Thank you so much again, and have a great artistic day.